Welcome to the car ride. Smooth riding with yours truly. Basically, this is a long form video, so I'm gonna be straight up to the point with you guys. Do it in the car, chatting away, treat it like a podcast, long form. If you are driving in your car and you want a buddy to talk to because you have an empty seat next to you and it sucks to feel lonely, well, pop open this video, give it a listen, and let's cruise together. Basically going to be talking about some things I discovered today and just in general. So one is I thought it was pretty interesting. There's always new developments, I feel like, in the health world, the fitness world, all that stuff. And it is hydrogen water. I've heard of alkaline water, I've heard of, just about everything, and maybe I'm a little late to the game, but hydrogen water. So basically, it's water that is infused with hydrogen gas. By doing this process, because it's a gas, when you infuse it into water, you drink it, the water is a vessel, or a vehicle, a little bit of both, vessel, vehicle, for the hydrogen to get into your system. And there are some Japanese researchers that found a ton of benefits to hydrogen water. I think there was a fountain in France, and I will pop up an image of the fountain and the name right in this area. And basically they studied this fountain that had a lot of healing benefits, and what they found is the water that was in the fountain somehow had hydrogen in it. So then they did more research and they created these machines that actually introduced hydrogen into the water, infused it, and tested it on different subjects. And long story short, a lot of people have found many healthy healing benefits, detoxin aspects, just all kinds of good benefits, even potential for mitigating Alzheimer's. Now there's some people, I haven't found the papers or anything like that yet to prove so, but some individuals are connecting the dots where they see that the hydrogen can actually pass the blood-brain barrier and can help healing properties of the brain, help mitigate Alzheimer's, TBIs, and things like that. So when I discovered this, I thought it was pretty cool. So if you guys are interested, just a heads up, do some research. There's a ton of devices out on the internet now that are hydrogen water infusers, whatever, and they'll work, but what you want to know is I think it's parts per million, if I'm correct. I might be wrong. I'm trying to instill this in my brain by repeating it out loud, but I think it's parts per million of hydrogen in the water, and what you want is a higher number, so then you have a more concentrated amount. Some devices don't put as much into the water, so you have to be a little weary and just do some research. There was one company that I did find, but I didn't, purchase anything or jump any guns. So if I do, I'll make a recording about it and let you guys know how I feel and maybe do like a little test. I do have some old videos I'm going to be popping up. Over the summer, did a 3-day fast. 3-day water fast, like zero food, just water. And I recorded parts of the process. And I think I might post those videos just for anyone who is generally curious how it affects people, how you might feel. And as a warning and a disclaimer, everybody's body is different. So how it affected me will be different of how it affects you. So if you have like heart conditions, blood pressure issues, sugar problems, definitely talk to your doctor before you just kind of hop onto things. When I did my water fast, you have to be on top of your game when it comes to salt, potassium, micronutrients, magnesium, because they could be thrown off a bit, you know. And I drank San Pellegrino mineral water. I drank a lot of different types of just spring water variations, but just strictly water, and no tea, no coffee. And honestly, it wasn't that bad. It was the first day was uncomfortable. The second day I was like lethargic, not gonna lie. You can't train. Like, I wouldn't train and put more stress onto your system when doing a 3-day water fast. It's just not beneficial to add more stress to your body when it's going through this detoxing state. And then it's basically rebuilding cells too. So a lot of health benefits to it. You can do your own research. I'm basically giving a summary of the biggest key points that stood out to me when I did the 3-day water fast. And it was cool. It was pretty cool. Like, the third day, I was surprised. I was like, I can exist without food. I was like, kind of zenned out. I was just like, but man, I will admit, when you eat food after not eating food for 3 days, you thank God for food, because it was just great. It was you become so thankful to be able to eat, to be able to live in a place where you can just go to a grocery store, take something from a shelf, skiddly-dop over to your vehicle, and just scarf it down, you know. But when you butter, I spilled my coffee. But when you do the 3-day water fast, you have to be just aware of when you implement food back into your diet. You got to be careful. Don't go out and just eat a hamburger, cheeseburger, and fries and be like, yeah, just did a 3-day fast, woo, eat. Don't do that. You have to slowly implement food back into your gut biome, your stomach, your digestion system has to kick back on, and you want to slowly implement back into it. So that's a little tip. Be aware of your heart rate too. You could be, for me, a couple times, like my heart rate would like shoot up. Granted, I wasn't overseen by a doctor doing this, so it's just a warning for anybody that does want to give this a try. But what helped me was taking some potassium and in like a powder form, or like a healthy salt, putting a little in my hand and eating that, and that really helped. And drinking more mineral water helped kind of minimize that. I mean, there's people more versed on the subject that can give you why that happens and everything else. Honestly, I'm just kind of not winging it, but giving you guys a brief summary of kind of what I experienced. I mean, I could do a longer form video. If you want a longer, more detailed video pertaining to 3-day water fast, leave it in the comment section below, and then I'll consider doing it. Otherwise, just spitballing, But that's some health stuff I have been learning about and dabbling with. And it's around Christmas time. So a bit. Sorry, guys. About a week from now, I think, is Christmas time. And I know it's tough for a lot of people, especially if you live away from home, you're not around family. I've been there. I have lived away from family members a number of different times and have had the holidays away from them. And if you had a close-knit family or do have one, it can be a little sad, you know, not having that. The familiarity, the tradition aspect. And the biggest kind of piece of advice I could give that helped me was having a friend group. In a lot of cases, don't want to hide your plane. Okay, we're good. In a lot of cases where you live in a place where there's other people that, like mostly metropolitan areas are like this, or certain popular states where a lot of younger people move to, Florida, Colorado, I guess people still kind of move to California. I really, I don't know how many, but if they still do, they do. But a lot of people in my millennials, Gen Z, whatever, they move around all over the place. And you're not alone. So you could be in an area where there's other people that don't have family because they're out of state. So one thing to help with that is to, when you're feeling lonely, you miss your family or whatever during the holidays, make a friend group. Have people that you know, or even if they're not close friends, just be like, hey, you know, we're acquaintances. Holidays kind of suck when you don't have anybody. Let's cook. Let's have like a what's it called? Not a banquet, but a cookout. I don't know. If you're down south in this time of year, you can have a cookout. But yeah, just have that, some kind of group, co-workers, friends, things like that. And what I found is most of the time, people will gravitate towards those who, like, people know when you don't have that family group. They kind of vibe it. And if they know you and you know your backstory, and they're like, all right, well, you know, he just moved here, he's got nobody, come on over with us, you know, like, come on, I got a turkey, we got extra seat. And you'll be surprised how welcoming people can be. I don't know what the hell just happened to me. Yeah, have a dry throat. Oh, and then drink something that makes you feel more dry. Totally makes sense. But a lot of times people view the world as being so dark and everybody's so miserable and negative towards each other and isolating and being like, fuck you, you know? But really, that's kind of a facade, because there's a lot of, well, like, people are still good people. There's still good people out there. There's only, in reality, there's like small bunches that ruin, you know, the batch of apples. There's a few rotten ones, but you'll be surprised if you give people benefit of the doubt that they'll be very welcoming. They'll be very, very nice to you, and nobody wants to see anybody be alone on the holidays. It's just like, it doesn't make sense. So definitely give that like some consideration if you're living somewhere new, you just moved, and you don't really have friends. No, back up. If you don't really have family in the area you moved into. If you don't have friends, you better start making some. And honestly, being straight up, when you're an adult, it's hard to make friends. School doesn't, they kind of teach you, I guess, how to make friends when you're a kid, but it's easier when you're a kid, you know. You're just like, you like Pokemon? I like Pokemon. You're my best friend. Here's my Pikachu card, you know? Oh, thanks, you gave me Charizard. Yay. You know, like, when you're a kid, it was so simple. But as an adult, you have these responsibilities that fill and just jam up your daily schedule. And when you're the type of person who has ambitions, goals, you want to better your health, you want to better your education, you want to better your relationship, those things become a priority in your in your schedule, and that kind of takes you away from having extra freedom to socialize with other people. So then you find yourself, when you look around, you see people that they might have a really big social group, they might hang out with friends all the time, but they might also be very unhealthy because they don't go to the gym or block out that time to exercise, or they might not have a good relationship because they don't really spend that time with their partner to build that relationship or get to know them better, or formulate that foundation that builds that temple of love. So as an adult, it can be difficult, and the biggest thing that I have kind of found is when you're a very productive person and you want to make friends as an adult, find groups or places where you can meet like-minded people and have it be one of those things that it ends up knocking off one of those things on your schedule regardless. So say if you want to take better care of your health, you want to know how to defend yourself, go into a boxing gym, go into MMA classes, because then you'll find other like-minded people that are, better in themselves, their health, taking care of themselves in those classes, and you make friends that way because you keep going consistently, you become, a familiar face, and then before you know it, you got a couple friends, and it's seamless because it's part of your schedule. Work's difficult. You can build friends as an adult in the workplace. What the hell? But mind you, I'm still driving, so that's what's going on. Barnacles. And we're back. Alright. It was like some kind of accident, and I wanted to make sure I was going the right way. So, the workplace, it's kind of weird to make friends if the age difference isn't too, crazy. Because if you're younger, but you work in an environment with a lot of, baby boomers, well, guess what? You're gonna start sounding and being like a baby boomer because you're around them a lot. And then why would you want to hang out with baby boomers outside of work when you're not a baby boomer, right? So in your workplace, unless you're around other like-minded people in a work environment, then it's easy to make friends as an adult that way. But your environment means a lot too, and that's probably the hardest truth and hardest thing to, I don't want to say deal with, but really contemplate. Because if you're an adult, you're not really satisfied with your life, you can't make friends, look at your environment. Where do you live? Do you live in a place where there's not much to do? Is it a rural town? Is it a place that you have to drive very far for anything eventful to meet other people? Is it a very depressed area? Is it a lot of crime? Are things really kind of falling apart infrastructure wise? And it's not easy by any means, and I can relate because the area where I grew up and lived in for the longest portion of my life is like that. It was like that. Rural, which I love rural living because it's quiet, you have nature, peace, but that comes with a cost, and the cost is a little bit of a difficulty making friends, going out and doing things, because you can look up meetup groups in any city, co-ed sports teams, things like that for adults in metropolitan areas. They're a dime a dozen. It's easy, right? But when you get further out to like suburban areas, or even out to rural areas, or depressed areas that don't really have a lot going on for it, it really cuts down on the things that you can do. And then on top of that, for some people, financially, that can implement and play a big role, because let's face it, if you don't have money to spend, that's hard to make friends as an adult. And you know, these are hard truths and hard kind of pills to swallow, but those are the things you have to think of if you're saying to yourself, if you're really saying to yourself, I don't have friends, I don't know how to make friends. Being an adult with friends, like, how do I make friends as an adult? If you're asking yourself these questions, you have to be really hard on yourself and your living environment and your work environment and your goals. Because if you don't have money to do things, it doesn't really make sense to go out, spend money to try to make friends where you won't be able to keep that up long term or get yourself out of the hole that you're in. And if you live in an area where it's difficult to meet people, then you got to be very, very creative of how you go about it. Kind of like earlier how I mentioned, find things that are correlated or similar to your goals. Like if you're into fitness, go to an MMA gym, meet people that way. It's a lot more easy for people in those metropolitan or city areas versus the rural places. So I am gonna have to cut this off. I arrived at my destination. I love you guys. Hope some of this dude in the car chat has helped you out. Any questions, leave them in the comment section below. If you love the channel, and I hope you do, subscribe. Hit that stupid bell that YouTube created. It's a pain in the ass, but it helps you be notified when my videos pop up. I'm daily with these videos up until the new year. Then I'm probably going to shift my schedule a little bit, but there's always going to be new content every week because I enjoy making it for you guys. So, take care. Love you guys. Have a good one.